What's up, guys? It's Food and Philosophy, episode 18. The Prophet by Khalil Gibran. We're still doing this guy. But first, Ike's. So this is number 243. This is only available. It's a Valentine's Day themed veggie sandwich. It's only available during February. So get this now. Vegan chicken, the Jamaican jerk sauce, sweet and spicy and jerky, just like me. Vegan chicken, avocado, cheese. I got this one on Dutch. Boop. You can see why vegetarians love me so much. The answer is no. Not every single Ike's has every single sandwich. You got to collect them all. Like Pokemon, so bounce around the stores and see what each one has. But 95, probably 90% of every sandwich can be made at 90% of every location. So 90 times 90, so it's a pretty high rate that what you want can be made there. But if it says they only make it, nope. Nobody else can. Unlike this Valentine's Day one, only for February. Nobody makes it after then. Love that sauce. Love that sandwich. If you're watching this episode, it means I didn't get canceled after the last one. Today's Twitter topic is... All right. This one's personal to me because somebody attacked me. They said, the more locations that I open, the bigger my head gets. Said I'm cocky, called me a clown, all those things. I literally just did an episode where I talked about how people put judgments on others without even knowing them. Gossip is poison. It's like being a black magician. This person does not know me, likely has never met me, and even if they have encountered me once or twice in their whole life, it's for mere minutes. And on top of that, they don't even follow me, so they don't even watch these videos or anything like that. So for them to say what they said, but we already know what people say is a reflection of themselves, not a reflection of you. But the reason why I'm bringing it up is, what is it that you feel really confident about yourself in your life? Like, what are you really good at? Relationships, your body, money, success, anything, sports, art, literally anything. What are those things for you? Bring those to the top of your mind right now. In fact, as I said that, you probably are like, oh, I'm good at, and said some things in your mind, right? The only reason why you're not going around bragging about that or stepping into it, for those of you that don't, which is probably like 99% of us, including me in many areas, is because we make up that it's bad, that it'll be cocky, or whatever of us to do so. Why? Who told you that? Where did we learn that? That, hey, you're really good at something? Shh, don't tell anybody. Anybody that's looking for that, don't let them know you're the one that they should talk to about that. Why? That makes absolutely no sense. If you're really good at making sandwiches, people should know that, because when they want a sandwich made, they should have you teach them or have you make it for them. Or if you're really good at investing or you're really good at relationships, like, you should be like, hey, if you need relationships or you need friends, I'm the one to talk to. Like, why? Shh, don't tell anybody you're good at it. Shh, hey, no, you're going to make other people feel bad if you... Oh, that's why we don't do it. Because somebody else that's not good at it, or what's more likely, somebody else that's not good at anything and has low self-concept doesn't want you feeling good about yourself. I think we found the reason why we call people cocky. You've never met somebody that was cocky that didn't deserve to be cocky, right? Name one person that you're like, this person's cocky as hell, but they don't have a reason to be. And it's probably not 0 people, right? But it's 90+% that they deserve to feel that way about whatever they're feeling cocky about. Real confidence, real belief in oneself. That's what should be taught to everybody. And in fact, anybody that is doing cockiness like out of balance, it's probably not actually cockiness. It's something else that makes us not like it. Either they're putting something in your face that's making you feel inadequate about something, or the person that's doing it, say, out of balance, is not actually it's like a costume and a charade and a masquerade like I spoke about, and it's not actually cockiness. It's something else. It's fake. So next time somebody says, hey, knock it off or be humble or whatever, hey, most human beings on this planet aren't even good enough to be humble. Like, what are you being humble about? And I mean that with as much respect as possible. There was a quote, I think, was it? Oh man, I wish it wasn't Warren Buffett, but it was someone. And basically somebody was attempting to be humble and they're like, come on, you're not even good enough to be humble. Knock it off. You don't need to be humble. So you don't need to be humble. You don't get anything out of being humble. If people want what you have and you're really good at it, you should brag about it and you should advertise it. You should literally buy ads on social media telling people about it, not the opposite. So that's my Twitter talk on cockiness and me being cocky as my business expands. I make the best freaking sandwiches in the world. If you can't handle that, then sucks to be you. And if you think my head's getting bigger and bigger as I'm becoming more successful, you obviously are not fucking paying attention. Because it's not, maybe in your mind that's what's happening, but if anything, I'm way less cocky than I was when I was a failure. Oh, if you think I'm a cocky now, you should have seen me in 2004 working at Victoria's Secret. That's my Twitter talk for today. Hopefully in the future, they're not very personal to me. But I can only go by my Twitter talks about what shows up on social media. All right, back to a regularly scheduled program. Probably going to get canceled for this episode too. Then one of the judges of the city stood forth and said, "Speak to us of crime and punishment." And he answered, saying, "It is when your spirit goes wandering upon the wind, that you will alone and unguarded commit a wrong unto others, and therefore unto yourself. Your well-being is your greatest contribution to humanity. Everything else is not that, so don't go wandering upon the wind. And for that wrong committed, you must knock and wait a while unheeded at the gate of the blessed." Like, you don't get into the heaven that is on this earth when you're wandering around aimlessly. You can wander with direction. You can wonder with direction. But when you wander aimlessly, that one quote, not all those that wander are lost. Yeah, if you don't have a direction, you are lost. Because while the path may lead eventually to your desires or what you would like, you need to have that plan right now. Like, if you don't know where you're going, you're never going to get there. But also, if you don't know what you want, you're never going to make anybody happy, especially yourself. But say you don't care about yourself because you've martyred yourself for so long. It doesn't matter what you think about yourself. You hurt humanity by not going for what you want. Like the ocean is your God self. It remains forever undefiled. And like the ether, it lifts, but the winged, even like the sun, is your God self. It knows not the ways of the mole, nor seeks it in the holes of the serpent. It doesn't care about what's burying yourself, your head in the sand, or being like hidden. No, contribute, contribute, contribute. But your God self dwells not alone in your being. Derp call. But your God self dwells not alone in your being. Much in you is still a man, and much of you is not yet man, but a shapeless pygmy that walks asleep in the mists, searching for its own awakening. And of the man in you would I now speak, the human in you. For it is he and not your God self, nor the pygmy in the mist, that knows crime and the punishment of crime. Oftentimes have I heard you speak of one who commits a wrong as though he were not one of you, but a stranger unto you and an intruder upon your world. But I say that even as the holy and the righteous cannot rise beyond the highest, which is in each of you, so the wicked and the weak cannot fall lower than the lowest, which is in you also. And as a single leaf turns not yellow, but with silent knowledge of the whole tree, so the wrongdoer cannot do wrong without the hidden will of you all. Like a procession, you walk together towards your God self. You are the way and the wayfarers. And when one of you falls down, he falls for those behind him. A caution against the stumbling stone. Hey, don't fall here. Look at this thing that I did. And he falls for those that are ahead of him, who though faster and surer of foot, yet didn't remove the stone. In this also, though the world lie heavy upon your hearts, the murdered is not unaccountable for his own murder, and the robbed is not blameless in being robbed. Especially, I actually got robbed. My house got broken into, and 100% fine. I'm not the one who stole from myself, literally. But that was my fault, actually. It was my fault. Literally my fault. The righteous is not innocent of the deeds of the wicked, and the white-handed is not clean in the doings of the felon. Yeah, the guilty is oftentimes the victim of the injured, and still more often, the condemned is the burden bearer for the guiltless and unblamed. You cannot separate the just from the unjust and the good from the wicked, for they stand together before the face of the sun, even as the black thread and the white are woven together. And when the black thread breaks, the weaver shall look into the whole cloth, and he shall examine the loom also. If any of you would bring judgment, let him also weigh the heart in the scales and measure his soul in measurements. And let him who would lash the offender look unto the spirit of the offended. And if any of you would punish in the name of righteousness and lay the axe unto the evil tree, let him see to its roots. And verily he will find the roots of the good and the bad, the fruitful and the fruitless, all entwined together in the silent heart of the earth. And you judges who would be just, what judgment pronounce you upon him who, though honest in the flesh, yet is a thief in spirit? What penalty lay you upon him who slays in the flesh, yet he is himself slain in the spirit? And how prosecute you him who in action is a deceiver and an oppressor, yet who is also aggrieved and outraged? And how shall you punish those whose remorse is already greater than their misdeeds? Is not remorse the justice which is administered by the very law which you would fain serve? Yet you cannot lay remorse upon the innocent, nor lift it from the heart of the guilty. Unbidden shall it call in the night, that men may wake and gaze upon themselves. And you who would understand justice, how shall you unless you look upon all the deeds in the fullness of light, with the synchronicity of the complementary opposites, the full perspective of it within the light? That's what he means by in the light. Only then shall you know that erect and the fallen are but one man standing in twilight between the night of his pygmy self and the day of his God self, in that the cornerstone of the temple is not higher than the lowest stone in its foundation. It said, speak to us of crime and punishment. There are the three us's, the three versions of us. There's the animal. He says here, the pygmy self, the animal, literally our reptile brain. The only part about the animal cares about is quantity of life. It does not care about quality of life. It goes around going, am I dead? No, great. Am I dead? No, great. Am I dead? No, great. And in fact, it only cares about the quantity of life to the extent that if terrible stuff happens to you often, but you didn't die, it's like it counts it as a yes, I win. So the three S's, the animal, and then there's the human, the prefrontal cortex, the one that thinks, the one where you go, who am I? The one that answers. The human in you, the part that you have conversations with yourself with, the you that moves, and then there's the God us, the one that inspiration flows to us through, the one that part of us that's actually connected to nature and the universe and God and whatever you want to believe in. That's the three S's, the animal, the human, and then the God. To our God self, there's no crimes because everything's linked and everything's, I don't want to say on purpose, that's inaccurate, but everything is perfect. And our human self only creates crimes from within an incomplete perspective. You see things and you don't see both sides of it. You see things, but you only see your perspective. And whether your perspective is good or bad, it will label the thing as good or bad. When in reality, it's neither. And our animal self, it doesn't even know what crime is. It doesn't have the capacity for that. Have you ever met a lion that's like, oh my gosh, I got to go eat this antelope? Or this cheetah that's chasing after, no, I don't know if I should eat this. No, it just goes and it does it. And it doesn't even register whether this is good or bad because it's beneath or it's above. That understanding is above in the human realm. So this is a long way of saying that the only place that crime and punishment, the knowledge of this, is with the human. God doesn't believe in it. The universe doesn't believe in it. Nature doesn't believe in it. Water doesn't believe in it. The flow of the seasons don't believe in it. It just keeps going. The law of least resistance. And the animal self hasn't even gotten that far. It doesn't even care. In our incomplete awareness, we turn ourselves away from heaven. We turn ourselves away from heaven on earth, and we punish ourselves and others, aka hell on earth, in our and their minds. We do it in our mind, but we also do it to them. We do it in our bodies to ourselves and to their bodies, like whether it's literal punishment, jail, or fighting them or arguing with them. Why is it that you've placed whatever it is that you think is wrong? Why is it that you think that these things are wrong? Whatever it is that you think is wrong, based on your metrics, not anybody else's. Why do you do that? Which values do they violate for you? For it is he and not your God self, nor the pygmy in the mist that knows crime and the punishments of crime. Exactly. Oftentimes have I heard you speak of one who commits a wrong as though he were not one of you. People are just a mirror of ourselves. In fact, extended out, they are ourselves. There's no difference between what we see and what we are. We have been the criminal too in our life too, not just literally right now, but in our lives. So we see somebody and we judge them. We're actually judging ourselves, but using them as the surrogate to blame. So we don't blame ourselves. Because oftentimes, 97% of the time, we're not, 97% of people, 97% of the time, aren't courageous enough to admit that what it is that they're upset about, their least favorite person, least favorite politician, least favorite anything situation, is actually them blaming themselves and them being upset with themselves. The entirety of those that we come in contact with are our mirror. They are us. We've also been them too. Perhaps they've even been taught by us because we help tame the world when we don't go for what we want. We help tame the world when we agree with others who have become tamed by the world. When we go along with anything that we don't agree with. We're always co-creating in life, always. In fact, we can never not be co-creating with other human beings. It's not even possible to not co-create. You go up and you blame somebody and you say, Ike, you're cocky. That means I wanted you to call me cocky just as much as you're a cocky old SOB too. The God in you, your God self, the God version of the human that you are, knows there is nothing to blame. The animal in you knows not what guilt or shame is. Like, they don't even know what blame is. Like, they haven't gotten there yet. But the human you learned guilt and shame from and through other humans as a way to ensure our survival, through guilt and through not wanting to be separate. Newtonian level, like, we learned it from watching other people. You learning it from society today. He wrote this, and it was true then, and it's still true right now. And as a way to keep us co-creating together, this is a quantum level learning too. We do this as humans, gather together in cities, consciously create societies as an unconscious way to keep us together and to keep us. Bert Hellinger has a book called The Love's Hidden Symmetry. He talks about all the things that we do, the unworkable ways that we say I love you to the ones that we want to say I love you to, but on the unconscious level. This is it in 3D. Crime and punishment is literally it in 3D. All experiences in this planet are created by us and wanted by us. And not just like literally like, oh, this experience happened and so I must want it. And I also created it. But also, we literally have created crimes and punishment. We must want that. And any other kind of construct, socially or otherwise, that we've created. So learn to see this as true and be okay with that. It'll help us to grow and teach us to see the world balanced. The scales of justice, as they talked about in buying and selling, apply everywhere. It wants us to be balanced through our senses, our 5 senses, whoever has 6 or 7 senses, however many senses there are, so that we can achieve equanimity here, right now, and we can create this learning now, generate it within ourselves, and we'll be able to teach it to other people indirectly, like just by being around them. So the wicked and the weak cannot fall lower than the lowest, which is in you also, because they are us. And also because you wouldn't be able to see how low it was if it wasn't in you, literally in you too, if you weren't it. So the wrongdoer cannot do any wrong without the hidden will of you all. Like a procession, you walk together towards God's self, towards balancing things out for the universe, but also in your mind with equanimity. It's forcing you to look at something different. And when one of you falls down, he falls for those behind him. A caution against the stumbling stone. And he falls for those ahead of him, who, though faster and surer of foot, yet remove not the stumbling stone. There is forever a learning amongst us. We move and we act in harmony, even if it's unconsciously. We might not even be knowing that this is happening. What do you see when you become aware of the hidden order of things? Look into those things now. If you want to go get the book, Love's Hidden Symmetry by Bert Hellinger, I bought it a few years ago. It's an out-of-print book. It was like $90-something. Maybe you can find a PDF of it somewhere. Read the book. We project our inner imbalances onto others. That's all we ever do. We turn our hidden guilt and our hidden shame into blame on others as a way to kind of relieve ourselves of it, but also that's just a byproduct of guilt and shame. We just need to find the one to bestow the blame upon. We're looking for, we feel bad, we feel bad. Oh, it's that politician's fault. We feel bad, we feel, oh, it's my ex's fault. We feel bad, we feel bad. It's my kid's fault. It's my boss's fault. It's my society, whatever it is, whatever we want to blame. It's to relieve ourselves of guilt or shame. So once we found somebody to bestow upon it, so we can relieve ourselves, is why we create perpetrators, because we're feeling like victims of this guilt and shame. So it goes out like over and over and over again. It's like the bite of a zombie. You bite me with the blame, and then I'm like, oh, let me go and like bite somebody else with blame or defensiveness or anything like that. And we were like going around playing this zombie guilt and shame tag kind of thing. Now you're the freaking blame one. And then one of my mentors, Michelle Masters, she has this game called Shame Potato, and like every human being's going around right now, going around and blaming and shaming each other. But what happens is somebody shames and blames, and then you go, we usually take it. We like, oh my gosh, and now we feel bad. We don't want to defend ourselves or whatever. How you win Shame Potato is somebody throws guilt or shame or blame at you, and then you're just like, nope, let the potato, let it bounce off you. It's like hot potato, but with shame. Epictetus has a quote. It says, first, we blame others. It's your fault, it's your fault, it's your fault. Then we blame ourselves. And then we find out there's actually nothing to blame, because everything's perfect. I don't know, is it Epictetus or Epictetus? I'll say it again. First we blame others, then we blame ourselves, and then we find out there's nothing and there's no one to blame. We are all co-conspirators of our experiences. We also inhabit all sides of any experience. We're the victims and the perpetrators. We're the murderer and we're the one that was killed. For every time we've been burned at the stake, we've also been the one lighting the pyre. And in every moment that we are robbed, we are just as equally the thief. When we punish others, it is ourselves that deserve the sentence as well. To the exact extent of our condemnation for or towards another person, it reveals to ourselves and others, if they're paying attention to what we're proclaiming, where we are guilty of ourselves. If someone else is paying attention to where you're like, I need this to happen in the world, you're actually secretly projecting where it is that you yourself are blaming yourself. All punishments are inherent in all actions and inactions. It's already balanced out. I don't say that. The world says that. Mother Nature says that. Water says that. If you believe in God, God says that. It's all balanced. No matter what interpretation we place on things, the physics of life will always make it so. You cannot punish anyone and you cannot reward anyone. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Try to make that go away. Try to show me where that doesn't exist on this, in some area on this planet. So, if this is built into the matter of things, then what's the matter with us when we make it wrong? Or heck, even when we make it right, it's still not true too. In a different light, we would go as far as to say that you cannot harm nor help anyone without their permission. Without their consent, in fact. You cannot help nor harm anyone without their consent. There's a great quote by Bruce Springsteen that's something to that effect. It's I'm paraphrasing it. It's through guilt and through us living through guilt and innocence in our portrayal of being guilty or being innocent. It's through the false premise that we can help anybody and harm someone else without their consent. So you're never guilty and you're never innocent because it doesn't even get there. Everyone is everything. when looked at from every single perspective. There are no bad nor good deeds. In fact, if somebody 24 hours a day for the next 2 years recorded your life, they can edit a video to make you the greatest human being on this planet, a hero, like you'll become the world's most famous influencer based on your actions. And if we edited properly too, we could make you the worst person, like worse than whoever you think is the worst person on the planet that's ever lived. Both of those are true. Why? Because there's no such thing as a bad person or a good person. We're all just people. There's no such thing as good deeds or bad deeds. They're always balanced out. There's just a perspective. Justice, in the sense, does exist. It does exist, but because it's already been, like, it's already happened, it's already balanced through each and every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So us trying to artificially place justice on doesn't actually help anybody. It's already been balanced by the scales through physics, through the laws of thermodynamics. So try to undo that. Like, try to undo the laws of thermodynamics. Go read Emerson's stuff and be like, oh no, that stuff doesn't apply when it comes to stealing, or doesn't apply when it comes to murder. I'm not saying go out and murder people. I'm not saying go out and steal from people. Be cognizant of where it is that you're co-creating these experiences for yourself, on behalf of yourself and the universe. Hashtag cancel me now. It doesn't matter when it's only a matter of time. Your well-being is your only contribution to humanity. There's no exceptions ever. Catch you guys next time.